Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 20 Minute Moat podcast by Volume.io. Here we talk with senior thought leaders and practitioners in the space of customer support to understand how customer support is evolving and how is tech enabling them to build delightful support experiences. And today I have Darshan with me. Darshan is the co-founder and CEO of Vauld, previously Bank of Hodlers, where their mission is to transition the world to decentralized money. He started off his journey as an investment professional with pyramidal finance and moved on to head partnership for TapChief, which was later acquired by Unacademy. Welcome to the show, Darshan.
Hi, Siddharth. Thanks for having me.
All right, Darshan, why don't you start off by telling more about Vault and about your role to our listeners?
Absolutely. So Vault is a cryptocurrency lending and trading platform. We're roughly 3 years old. We are customer facing and have customers from 190 countries. So we're truly global. We are venture capital backed. We raised around a couple of months ago. We raised our Series A then, but we also raised a smaller round late last year. We're about 75 people out of our Bangalore office, and about half of that is in the support function. Our mission, as you rightly mentioned, is to accelerate the transition to decentralized money. We think it's the most customer-centric form of money that's ever existed. And we want to enable more banking touch points in the crypto world. We started with that mission 3 years ago by introducing a system where customers can earn yield on one end and get a line of credit on the other. We've connected them through our platform, and that has grown quite significantly since our launch. And what we intend to do over the next 12 months is combine more core aspects of banking, such as storage of wealth through a bank account or payments through a debit card, deeply integrated into the Vault ecosystem. And this won't just be accessible to people in India, but rather people in Singapore, Europe, US, and a bunch of other countries. So we would like many people to use us as their primary banking destination and hopefully transition more payments, more savings in the crypto world.
Fantastic. I mean, crypto has come a long way in the last 5 years, right? I mean, from being talked about as a techie currency and being talked about as somebody who, from a underground currency types to somebody now, offering lending rates, borrowing rates. This is fascinating to hear about. All right. We'll get into the podcast now, right? And I'll get into the meat of it, right? In your view, right? And especially in talking about crypto, right? How has the industry evolved in the past year, and what are the biggest challenges you have been trying to solve in the customer support space?
So I think the challenges are twofold in the crypto world. One is education as a new customer in itself, because as you know, it's such a new space where many people are actually owning crypto for the first time in the last 12 months. And that one-time education required to better understand what Bitcoin can do for you, what Ethereum can do for you, what are the differences between both of them, how do you use a platform to purchase crypto, how do you move cryptocurrencies and the like. That one-time education was significant. And the next cohort of, I would say, customer queries come in when they've bought their first crypto, they bought their first couple of cryptocurrencies, and they're going down the rabbit hole of figuring out what the 10th biggest token is, what the 50th biggest token is. And so those are the two aspects of learning that are biased towards information, and in turn, possibly what we do is we try to digest that down and ensure that it's communicated reasonably well. And of course, given that we run a platform where we provide this service to purchase and earn interest, we get a bunch of queries around how do we generate the yield, and in case somebody's not able to figure out something on their own on the platform, that's when we like someone from our team to help them with that process.
All right. And you talked about customer support, and you talked about how you're helping your customers, right? Both in fact, to educate them as well as to help them transact their first time, right? How was customer support like in your position? Like, could you elaborate on the team structure when it comes to the support section?
Sure. So when we handle support, we like to think of them as asynchronous communication and synchronous communication. Asynchronous communication tends to be first information heavy on our end through an education process of email, or any other download that we tend to share with them. And the next form of communication is when they need something instantly, which is why we have a full-fledged team to help with that. We're about 75 people now. About half of that is in support. So we're keeping up with demand, and the way it's structured is really simple. We have a director of customer success who has two people directly report to them. One is a quality specialist, and the next is a people manager. Under the people manager, we have shift leads because we offer a 24/7 service. And under the shift leads, we have associates. Now, a particular shift can have anywhere between 3 people to 10 people, depending on what time slot we're talking about and which day. And the quality team, which I think we have a bunch of folks there, essentially combs through the chats, combs through the support, what the most frequent questions are, and in turn builds intelligence from that to possibly either productize that solution so that it doesn't, the metric is what are the total number of tickets per customer that come up. So optimizing on that front, along with how well are our associates up to date with the crypto space so that they can help the customer. Because of how rapidly changing the crypto space tends to be, education tends to play a significant part into the support experience in itself, both for the associates as well as for our customers.
Got it. And you talked about the total number of tickets, right, per customer, right, as a metric, right? How do you measure effectiveness specifically for your customer support team? And I mean, apart from this metric, are there any other metrics you track on a regular basis?
So those are very broad level metrics that the support tickets per, let's say, 1,000 customers or something. It's a very broad metric. It could be you're getting inquisitive customers. It could be that your platform is just not working for some particular reason. We don't give them this number to goal because there are so many things that are outside their control, right? Quality of customers that come in. Are we targeting right? Is the marketing team doing a good job? Or is the product team doing a good job and ensuring that the service just works? So how we measure customer success is what the support NPS score is. That's the goal number that we set. And then there are other numbers that we like to achieve, which is what is our first response time and what is our ticket closing time. So we goal for a 60-second response time and a 24-hour resolution time. And but more importantly, we measure a happiness post the ticket closure. That's the thing that we really care about. And the experience that we're going after is not the Amazon sort of experience, although they may be interpreted as the gold standard at this point. It's still quite disconnected to the problem, we think. It's such a sophisticated decision tree that it's almost binary, and they're likely going to automate many more steps in that decision tree. We see support as an aspect of retention and possibly value creation, because when you interact with a traditional bank, I dread it. I really do. I'm afraid that when I talk to them, they're going to sell me something that I don't want, like a credit card or a personal loan. And if I have an actual problem, they take weeks on end to solve it. So what we try to deliver here is almost like a relationship, except that we never initiate the conversation. We don't want to be the one calling you and saying, why don't you meet our business goals? That's not that's not their problem, right? I mean, if a customer is coming to us with a concern, that's when we want to be the friends or the folks that our customers can pick up when they have a problem with crypto, that and not be intrusive beyond that. So that's the experience we're going after.
I completely sync with the point, right? We talked about how you dread when you have to talk to your bank, right? It's more about, it's like they'll tell, sir, you have this much in your account savings. Why don't you invest in this, or why don't we give you an overdraft facility, or you have a pre-approved draft facility of overdraft of this much allowed? Would you like to go for it? Like the amount of questions they ask is like, why did I even call you to solve my problem? I'm solving your problem.
Exactly. So and I don't think it's the associate's fault.
It's not. It's a top-down driven thing, right?
It's completely a directional problem and a lack of focus around creating customer delight from the top.
Yeah. So, I mean, not talking about customers, right? You know, with the new age crypto and, you know, different sets of demographics targeting, right? I mean, obviously you have your early adopters, the ones who are really good about, I mean, the ones who have really strong fundamentals on crypto. Then you have the laggards like me, right? Who are like slight on the fence and like, okay, we'll see what others are doing. If it's fine, we'll go in. Uh, do you think customers are changing their mindset when it comes to support, specifically customer support for your brand? And are they trying to reach you on different channels other than the email and phone?
So what happened over the last 3 months is that we just saw a huge wave of customers come and post our latest funding round. And customers don't tend to reach out to, we don't look at what channel they reach out to. We try to figure out what the problem is. And if they're not being heard with the options that we're giving them, it's obvious that they're going to try to be heard in other ways. So that's a failure on our side. If let's say they're going through channels outside of email or even chat or even phone support, which we have. We have a Telegram community, which we're transitioning to Discord. And of course, there's a social media aspect to this too. And we see Telegram and social media getting more heated up in case the primary channels are failing. If the primary channels just work, we don't see any activity on the other channels at all, except very constructive suggestions on what we need to do over the mid to long term. It's not immediate solve my problem right now, you know. That's when there's most amount of frustration. That's when you really need to get to the bottom of things at the moment.
Got it. And you talked about, you know, you're currently on web, chat, and phone, right? So, you know, how have your support teams grown and evolved in the past few, like, you know, you talked about the few months, the 3 months post just funding where, you know, you got a flux, but your support system, I mean, given the thought process behind it and how you have structured it, I'm assuming this is like a long drawn thought process. It is strategic more than, okay, I've got new customers, so I get new customer support folks, right? So how has your support team grown in the last few, like, you know, quarters, if I were to ask?
So we have a very decentralized approach to this thing. We try to find the right people to solve the problem. We try to hire the best in every industry. Our and what we did was not try to reinvent the wheel here. We think where we were 2 months ago was that we were not even meeting the basic mark because of just the sheer amount of new customers that we were getting. So that problem was very solvable. But when we think about mid to long term, creating customer delight, that's when we knew we had to get the team, a very empathetic team that actually cares about customer problems and actually cares about technology at the same time. Because even if you don't have one of those two, you're not a good fit to be on the other side of someone who does. You know, and to your description of a lagger, I wouldn't put you in that bucket at all. About 0.5% of the world's assets are stored in crypto right now. If we look at adoption, we're talking about anywhere between 1 to 2% of the investor community globally has really gotten into the crypto space. So if you put that number, we're still at the early adopter entrepreneur stage, transitioning to possibly the early majority. So I think we're at 150 million unique customers in crypto all over the world. We see it as inevitable that it's going to get to 1 billion, which means 85% of the people who will own crypto in a couple of years from now don't own cryptocurrencies at the moment. So there's just a significant amount of investment that companies in our position need to do to ensure that that onboarding experience was easier than what we had to go through ourselves, because it wasn't straightforward. And we need to do a better job than the traditional industry has so far. That's how innovation feels like innovation. It shouldn't feel like innovation because it's some fancy technology in the back end. It should feel like a better experience for the customer. That's how we're going to see that wave happen.
Got it. And, you know, you know, we talked about, you know, you keep talking about building a delightful support experiences, right? And you keep talking about, you know, you want to provide a customer delight, right? And that's how you structure the entire customer. You know, you worked in the investment and banking space for a long time, and you were with TapChief, which got later acquired with Unacademy, and now obviously with Vault, right? Your thoughts on what used to work before and what works today, right, in terms of providing a delightful customer support experience?
You know, I think we we've come to overvalue technology on the delight side quite a bit, to the point where AI chatbots are good, but if they're not coming to a resolution, it's frustrating. I reach out to the chat already at possibly a slight amount of frustration because possibly something's not working, and then I go through the experience over the last 10 years maybe where I can't reach a person for the life of me. That's just terrible, and that wasn't the case 10 years ago. If you think of what our parents used to use, from a banking standpoint, at least I can only speak to the banking aspect. They would call a person, and if you're a high value customer, they would show up. They would come home, and if they weren't a high value customer, you could go and you could meet the person who onboarded you, right? Now, given that we've moved from there to the completely digital world, how do we, I'm not saying we need to recreate that experience, but at least recreate the way we felt about customer support at that point. And if AI chatbots are not getting us there, which I think, unless it's extremely well structured, it won't. We have to put better caliber, higher caliber people in front of the customer. You can't hire someone straight out of school, possibly not gone through more education from there, possibly not fluent in the language that the customer is talking in, with zero perspective on the actual instrument and reading out of a script. That just doesn't work. I would rather invest significantly in ensuring that folks are sufficiently trained. They are a customer of the platform first. They understand the problems. They've reported customer feedback that they have experienced themselves, and then start shadowing our customer delight folks, and then in turn take these tickets directly. So significant more investment in terms of filtering out the right people for us, as well as post them joining and ensuring that they have complete context of the platform is really lacking, at least in the BFSI space, in my perspective, and that could be significantly improved, along with better structuring of chatbots in case a company, for whatever reason, choose to go down that path. I think it's a perfectly good solution to many problems if it's a repeatable problem. But I think if you can eliminate the chatbot trying to solve the problem and try to have your product solve the problem, you like, that's how that transition happens. First, pick up the tickets in case it comes. That's a new ticket, of course. You don't know. Then a transitionary phase where you could take them through decision trees on the chatbot, but that's really not the long-term solution. The solution should be obvious on the platform itself. You're on mute, Siddharth.
I'm so sorry. All right. So we talked about, you're talking about how the chatbot industry has to evolve, and also, the brands need to make sure that the product answers most of the questions, right? Because once a person comes either on support, that means there has been a disconnect between the I would say the expectation of the customer and the delivery of the product, right? That's when the customer has an issue, and therefore the person has come out to support, right? And I mean, you need to proactively solve that in product to get lesser on that front, right? Yeah. So in your view, right, and we talked about, specifically in BFSI, right? Is there a way to, is there a need, not a way, is there a need to reimagine the customer support, and in your opinion, has the pandemic forced BFSI, and I would say traditional as well as the new age, neobanks, crypto, to look at, innovating when it comes to engaging with their customers?
So when I think about what the best possible experience is, that's how I like to work backwards. I don't think about trying to make the support experience better. I try to make the experience better, and a support being a significant part driver to that. If I think about what the best experiences are, I think of a few brands in India. I think of Paytm in terms of its wallet. I think of Google Pay, possibly. I think of Zerodha in terms of its stockbroking app. And the funny thing is, I don't remember the last time I spoke to a support agent in any of these products. Now, that just means that their product teams have significantly invested into ensuring that the product is extremely well built. And I think a lot more focus needs to go on that in products that don't achieve that. And I think the crypto space, unfortunately, doesn't achieve that. I'm putting myself in this bucket. Uh, uh, Investing in stocks is not a very straightforward process, but look at how elegantly companies have solved that in India. Um, the crypto space needs to beat that. I think that's the floor right now. That's the direction we're going. And in the transitionary period that we can't do that, or we're working towards doing that, um, ensuring that people who really get crypto, who can help the other person, and putting that person in front of a customer who's possibly confused or in distress, and making sure that they feel heard, promising realistic timelines, and following up on that is the most important thing. Now, anything above that is a delight, right? When you try to build a relationship with the customer and whatnot. But if you try to do the latter without the former, it's completely broken. It feels like the bank experience where I have a problem, and I'm not being heard. There's no resolution, and then there's this other dude who's trying to make small talk with me with a possible agenda. I don't want that at all. So ensure that the product solves a problem. If not, ensure that the customer experience guy understands exactly what I'm saying and helps me and promises realistic timelines and sticks to it. And then if you can do both of that, I would love to build a relationship with this brand. You're on mute.
Okay, this strange habit of mine to not unmute myself. All right. You talked about the chatbot industry, right? And you were saying that, okay, chatbots is a good thing for repeatable problems, but ideally you want it to be solved by the product and obviously, get to them in a delightful way. But do you believe that automation and conversational AI can help enhance the quality of customer support?
I think it could if implemented well, but I've very rarely seen it implemented well. I mean, capturing my information through a conversation is slightly more frustrating to me versus just filling in a form, right? So if the conversational AI is just capturing information, then it's not solving for what's special about conversational AI. I think what's special is it taking up the first third or first half of a human chat. Of course, information capture is part of that, but also better understanding what the problem is. If, let's say, that can be automated, you can significantly speed up resolution, because capturing the information, understanding it, and then coming to a resolution is the whole closing the loop piece, right? Right. So at least capturing the information and possibly suggesting the most frequently asked concerns in those categories could be one such solution, but replacing it using conversational AI as a replacement for a Google form is inexcusable.
Got it. And if I had to offer you one tech in customer support that, if you could just wish for, like, hey, I want this, what would it be?
One feature, you mean?
One tech in customer support, like the tech that you want today for customer support, what would it be?
I would say, like, I start a chat, and if it's not apparent what the solution is, within 15 seconds, I get to talk to a person, and I don't have to tell them what the problem is. If, let's say, it's a solvable problem, I instantly start a screen share over there, and then they possibly navigate me through the problem, and I don't have to talk to them ever again.
All right. And I'll bother you for one more question in the conversational AI space. How do you think bots and automation will evolve in the coming, say, next 2 to 3 years?
I hope it goes closer to complementing the human experience. I think even if you look at a few brands that have done at least decision tree based chat solutions, I think Swiggy has done a fantastic job narrowing down what the possible concerns are, and the fact of the matter is, if you in certain outcomes where you just add a photo and say that this is the problem, they front your money and say very sorry, here's your refund, thank you so much. And the reason why they do that is because they realize it's just more economical and a better experience for folks uh, uh, just to ensure that the financial compensation makes up for the bad experience. Um, you get to you get much lesser tickets, much higher NPS, both from a product as well as a support experience, and a much more lean and effective team. You can invest more on technology and product as opposed to scaling a manned team. With regards to conversational AI, I think it again needs to come from a strategic level where it's just not setting up this tool that apparently can help me reduce my tickets, but rather a clear focus on what the what the possible outcomes are, why is someone distressed with the product or service, and what can we do such that they have the best possible experience without the need to talk to a person. Like if that is the trade-off that you're trying to find, where a conversational AI can lead to a partial or complete reimbursement of a microtransaction, for example, to ensure that A, they don't have to talk to the customer support team, and B, this completely solves for their problem. That would be a fantastic outcome for more products outside of just a Swiggy, for that matter.
Got it. So with this, we come to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Darshan, for being with us today. It was lovely hearing your views, and basically, I got a lot of insights into about how async and sync communication, about how the customer support is structured, and specifically about how customer support is a crucial element in the new age crypto platforms as well. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Siddharth. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Darshan.
Thank you for listening in to our episode today. We'll be back with another interesting, thoughtful, and insightful episode shortly. In the meanwhile, you could check out our previous episodes on worldloop.io/podcasts. If you're looking to build delightful support experiences, do reach out to us on hello@worldloop.io. Till next time, this is Sid from worldloop.io signing off.